Hi, welcome back to our Yoga Cafe series, this one focusing on emotional balance. So today I'd like to focus on the emotion of worry. And in Chinese medicine, we use the spleen organ system to process worry and transform it into trust, right? You can kind of see how those two would be complementary to each other. So worry transforms in the positive sense to trust. So today, the props that you'll need your trusty chair, you'll need a non-stick surface like a yoga mat or even a floor, as long as it's not too slippery. And then at the end of the practice, I'm going to ask you to put your legs up on the seat of your chair. Now, my chair is nice and high, which is great for balancing using the chair, but not so great for putting my legs up on it because my legs are shorter than the legs of the chair. So I actually have, you can see over here, that green thing. I have a little separate footstool that I use that is just the right height for my legs. I'm also encouraging you to bring in any blankets or pillows or even warm fuzzy socks so that at the end of practice, you can be nice and warm and comfortable and remain in that restorative, relaxing shape for a little while. Okay. I also have a yoga block there. That is because at some point we're going to practice triangle pose. And if you are somebody who practices triangle pose with your hand on a block, then you'll want to have your block. Otherwise, I'm going to be demonstrating it both from using a block and then also using the seat of my chair. So if you don't have a block, you don't need it. All right. So once you've gathered your props, go ahead and come back. And you can sit on the floor if that's comfortable for you. I'm going to be demonstrating the first part of our practice seated in the chair. Okay. So find your way into a comfortable seat. If you are seated in a chair, place your feet flat. Don't cross the ankles. Place the feet flat on the floor, ankles underneath your knees, knees about the same height as your hips or maybe a little bit lower. And then just take a few moments to really let your body settle downward. So the legs get heavy, the hips get heavy, shoulders heavy, hands heavy. And from that settling, that rooting downward, begin to grow the spine upward. So think about the muscles that live along the spine and recruit them to slowly rise up, almost like you're going up through an elevator along the spine. Lift up through the back of your skull, not your chin. Let your shoulders remain settled as you did before. And just take a few moments to feel that shape, kind of playing with the effort and ease of that shape. And the next time you breathe in, allow your shoulders to rise up. Breathe out and let your shoulders melt down. Let's do that a few times. So I want you to really feel what it's like to subtly lift the shoulders. Subtle, not suddenly, but very subtle, and then subtly drop the shoulders. So in terms of anatomy, this is called elevation of the shoulder. And then as you exhale, you are depressing the shoulder. Doesn't mean that your shoulders are sad, just means that they are dropping down. Most times when we are dealing with a chronic worrying state, we live with the shoulders very subtly elevated. So we walk around kind of like this, right? We're worried, we're anxious, there's a protective quality. And if somebody comes up and tells us to drop the shoulders, we may go, oh yeah, my shoulders are dropped, and not even realize it. So when that happens, if you have the presence of mind, exhale as you attempt to drop the shoulders and see if that's a little easier. Okay, now let's leave the shoulders down. Let the arms hang down by your sides. And we're going to play with that depression as well as rotation in through the shoulder. So let's just start with one shoulder coming forward, elevate it up, and then back, and then depress it down. So we're going through our shoulder roll. You know how to do this. Shoulder roll, one arm only, but really emphasize the elevation and the depression part of that shoulder roll. One more time, this direction. Same arm, other direction. So you go back, up, forward, and down. Yeah. And you might hear some creaks and cracks, some little pops as the shoulder goes around. One more time, this arm. And then pause before you go to the other arm and just feel any difference that you can discern between your shoulder and your ear on both sides. And I'll share with you what I feel. I feel kind of the absence of anything on the side I was just working, whereas I feel a distinct pulling between my ear and my shoulder on the unworked side. So sometimes the absence of a sensation is informative. All right, now let's go to the other shoulder. So it goes forward, up, back, and down. Elevation, and then depression. And one more time in this direction. And then we go the opposite direction. Last time around. And then let the arms hang and just notice what may have changed, or maybe nothing's changed so far. Okay. Now we're going to come into a type of exercise or action called isometric. You're going to place the two palms against each other and push. And as you push, you notice the muscles of the upper arm, maybe the bicep, you might even feel it in the shoulders a little bit, start to engage, even though the body hasn't moved at all, the skeleton hasn't moved at all. One thing you might observe is that your shoulders are trying to elevate. So see if you can drop the shoulders down as you press the hands against each other. So this is called an isometric activity or exercise. I'm bringing blood to the area, but I'm not moving the bones at all. It does elevate the blood pressure to hold this for an extended period of time, and that is exacerbated if you're holding your breath. So please breathe here. Okay, so just be aware, one more breath, of the muscles that you're engaging as you press. Okay, now we're going to try it again with a different type of isometric activity. So lace your fingers tight in through the webbing, and at the same time kind of clamp down with your fingers, and then try to pull the fingers apart. And you'll feel the engagement of the muscles in a slightly different area. So maybe more the shoulder, maybe the chest, maybe the back of the arm, maybe a lot through the wrist. Keep breathing, right? So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not moving my arms at all, but I am bringing a lot of blood flow to the area. Okay, and then release that and come into cactus position, cactus pose, cactus position, whatever you think of as that shape there. Elbows at or about the height of the shoulders. And then I want you to imagine you've put a lemon and stuck it between your two shoulder blades, and then squeeze that lemon. Feel that opening up across the front of the chest. And we don't want to hold this one too long because we tend to cramp here. So let's go the other way now. Bring the palms together, elbows together, and really broaden across the back of your upper back. I like to call it the back of the heart. Okay, so we're going to do those 4 movements together using the breath. So we'll slide the hands down and take an inhale, press palm against palm. Then lace the fingers, try to pull them apart. That's your exhale. Then your inhale, you take that cactus, squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other. And then exhale, bring the palms and the elbows, if they can touch, together. So inhale, palm to palm. Exhale, lace the fingers and pull. Inhale, cactus, squeeze. And exhale, palm and elbows together. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, palm to palm. Exhale, lace and squeeze. Inhale, cactus and squeeze. Exhale, palm and elbows together. Last one. Inhale, palm to palm. Exhale, lace and squeeze. Inhale, cactus and squeeze. And exhale, palm and elbow together. And then go ahead and lower the arms. Roll the shoulders out as you need to. Take a breath in. Okay. We're going to bring that isometric activity to the legs now. So I'm going to shift back a little bit so you can see what my legs are doing. I'll bring my notes with me. So similar to the arms, when we do our isometric exercises in the legs, the body doesn't move, but there's a lot of blood flow, a lot of engagement happening. So you start with the feet right underneath the knees. And if you're sitting on the ground, you'll want to come into butterfly shape. So bottoms of the feet together, knees open. And then whether you're on the floor or in the chair, just bring your hands to the inside of your knees and press against the knees like you're trying to push the knees further apart. At the same time, let the knees resist your hands and find that isometric activity. And just hold that for a few breaths. You're also feeling this a little bit in through the arms and shoulders. And then you release and take the hands to the outside of the knees. So same thing here. Pushing against the knees like you're trying to close up the knees, but the legs are resisting and pushing back against your hands as you breathe. And then release. And then once more, hands on the inside and press. And release. And then hands on the outside and press. You might even get a little bit of heat with this isometric activity too. It's very common. And then release. Okay. Stand your legs forward. Extend your legs forward and just start to circle the ankles, the knees, and the hips. And then go the other way. Good. And then set the feet back underneath the knees. If you're sitting on the floor, you come back to your comfortable seat, whatever that may look like. Maybe cross-legged. Place your hands on your thighs and take a moment to once again let your body settle and root down. Really root down into the earth. And then recruit those muscles that live along the spine to elongate the spine upward. And when you elongate the spine, you might notice that some of the muscles elsewhere in the body tense up. So see if you can play with relaxing those muscles while extending the spine. So there's that balance of effort and ease that I mentioned at the very beginning. Let's visualize that the spine is in this beautiful, like barbershop pole, that it can rotate, but it's not going to lean one direction or the other. So let's come into our rotations by sliding one hand towards the hip, other hand towards the knee, and we'll keep our nose and our chest going in the same direction as we rotate around that barbershop pole of the spine. And just go slowly back and forth, maybe inhaling one direction, exhaling the other direction. Or if that's too fast for you, you can always exhale into the twist, inhale back to center. So your breath rhythm is really your own business, as long as you're breathing. We're going to be doing quite a few different variations of twisting today. And what I'm hoping is that at the end of practice, you feel kind of wrung out in a good way. All right, now the next time you twist, keep your nose facing forward and then eventually look over the shoulder at the front. And then switch, looking over the front shoulder, almost like you're trying to read what's on the back of your shirt. And there's a slight tilt of your ear towards that front shoulder. The hand that is sliding back towards the hip, there's a hint of that squeezing of the shoulder blade. Just a hint of it. Don't get too crazy with that. And let's do this one more time to each side. And then come back to center. Okay. We're going to shift now into position for cat and cow pose, cat and cow flow. So if you're on the floor, you'll come to all fours. And then if you're seated in the chair, you're just going to come to face the seat of your chair with your hands on the outside of the seat of your chair and have your knees underneath your hips. When you're standing doing cat and cow, have the knees quite bent. All right, so next time you take a breath out, you breathe out, go ahead and tuck your chin, tuck your tail, push the middle of your back up high. So that space that you were squeezing, that lemon, go ahead and really dome that area up high. And then reverse, lifting your tail, looking towards the back of your chair or even up towards the ceiling if your neck allows it. And go back and forth that way, exhaling into this kind of domed, rounded position, and then inhaling into the arched position. Moving at the rhythm of your breath. And as always, if you would like to pause at one end of this movement and just explore for a few breaths, you're always welcome to do that. So as somebody who has a lot of asymmetry through my spine, I really enjoy doing that sort of exploratory movement so that I can get some of the kinks out that I'm not always able to access with just the cat and cow movement. All right, the next time you complete your exhale, go ahead and bring your spine to a neutral position. And you're going to take your right hand to your support right underneath your head, right underneath your face. So either your right hand's coming to the floor or to the seat of your chair. Left hand is going to come into cactus. And we're going to revisit that cactus squeeze position. So locate for me the left shoulder blade. And then on the next inhale, I want you to twist so that you're opening up to the left. And then at the end of the twist, squeeze that left shoulder blade inward, like you're squeezing the lemon. As you exhale, untwist and place your left hand on top of your right hand. And we'll do that again. Inhale, cactus, turn, squeeze. Exhale, turn, and stack your hands. Inhale, cactus, turn, squeeze. Exhale, turn, and stack your hands. One more time this side. Inhale, cactus, turn, squeeze, and then exhale, turn, and stack. Okay, now let's swap the hands. So it's the left hand that's now underneath your face. Right hand comes into the cactus. Locate that right shoulder blade. And on your next inhale, turn, opening up the right side. And at the end of the turn, squeeze your right shoulder blade in towards the midline. And then on the exhale, unwind and place your right hand on top of your left. So inhale, cactus, turn, squeeze. Exhale, turn, and stack your hands. Inhale, cactus, turn, squeeze. Exhale, turn, and stack your hands. And one more time. Inhale, cactus, turn, squeeze. Exhale, turn, and stack your hands. Okay, now let's place the hands once again under the shoulders, and we'll do a couple rounds of cat and cow, rounding as you exhale and arching as you inhale. And again, you're welcome to explore at one end of the movement, or you can simply go back and forth. All right, last time. Once you've completed your next exhale, bring your hands to your thighs, come up to standing, get there any way that you can. I'm going to readjust this a little bit. So here you are up standing. Just take a moment now to feel your feet underneath your hips and your spine growing out of the hips, shoulders dropping, right? So that there's that shoulder depression and the back of the skull reaches up. And find your breath here. You might even play with a little bit of that movement in the shoulders, the up and down, but make it really subtle. Root down through your heels. See if that feels more grounded to you than if you were forward on the balls or the toes. When I put my weight back towards my heels, it's like 70% of my weight in the heels, 30% in the balls and the toes. So when I put my weight slightly back, that forces me. I'm somebody who hyperextends. This is my normal, is to hyperextend. So if I put my weight back, I have to bend my knees or else I'll fall backwards. So putting my weight back in my heels actually takes me into a more neutral stance through the legs. So if you're a hyperextender, you may notice that. So really stack up in what we think of as neutral. And let's step the feet just a little bit apart here. So about shoulder width or maybe slightly wider. And you're welcome to take your toes slightly out if that's comfortable for you. But I do want you to have more of the weight in your heels. And I don't want you to be twisting or doing anything through the knees and the hips, right? So no Elvis pelvis here, okay? Keep the knees slightly bent. Now let's wrap our arms around a big imaginary tree. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, rotate to your right. Keep hips and knees where they are. Rotate the waist, the ribs, the elbows, the head. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to your left. And inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to your right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to your left. And inhale, back to center. So I turn sideways to show you this added part. As you twist to your right, at the very end, I want you to turn your palms like you're framing a window and look through that window. And then reset the hands as you inhale back to center. Other side, exhale, twist left, turn the palms, look through that framed window, and then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist, turn the palms, look, inhale back to center. Exhale, turn, look, inhale back to center. Let's do this one more time to each side. Exhale, turn, look, inhale back to center. And last time, exhale, turn, look, and inhale back to center. And then lower the arms and just pause. So that's now the second time we've done some rotating around the central axis of the body, which is the spine, right? So just notice how that feels. Maybe you've got some asymmetrical tension pulling on the spine that hopefully is no longer pulling on the spine. Or maybe it just feels like, oh, I've got my groove of where my central axis is now. This is where I rotate with regard to gravity. All right. So now we're going to come into a side bend into triangle pose or Trikonasana. If balance is a little bit tricky in this pose for you, you're always welcome to have your back up against a wall, or you could have your chair in front of you rather than to the side of you, okay? If, however, you are comfortable doing this pose without all that propping, maybe just with a block, this is where you would grab your block and place it on the floor, okay? So we're going to start to the right. And if you're using the chair, you would place the toes of your right foot just underneath the front edge of the seat of your chair. And then step your left foot back. And then before we go into the pose, let's just take a moment to reach the hands out like a star shape. Put the weight into your two heels. I'm perfectly happy if you want to bend the knees slightly here to do that. And then reach up through the top of your head and out through your fingertips. So I want you to feel that activity. It's a little bit like when we were squeezing the shoulder blade, right? It's a very minor, very subtle action. It is related to the isometric actions we were doing before, but it's not technically isometric. So now take a breath in. And as you exhale, reach that right hand either for the seat of the chair or for your block or the floor, wherever you go to. And then let's bring the left hand into our cactus position. Squeeze your left shoulder blade towards the midline, towards the central axis. Feel that open up the left shoulder, left side of your chest. This is a kind of a congested area for blood, lymph, and nerve endings here called the thoracic outlet. So really open up there. And you're welcome to stay there, or you might even reach that left arm overhead so that the biceps near your left ear. You're breathing here and just feeling. Pushing down through the heels, reaching up through the top of your head. And then to come out of the pose, let's reach the left arm, almost like someone took hold of your wrist. Reach the left arm out to your left and let it pull you up and out of the shape. And then pause. All right, to come into the second side, you're welcome to simply turn towards your chair, step your left foot in, and your right foot back. For me, however, I'm going to rotate my chair around so that I can continue to see you. All right, so now the left foot is under the front edge of your chair, and the right foot steps back. Weight back into your heels. So you're pushing down through the heels and reaching up through the top of your head and reaching those fingers out, 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 out. And then on your next exhale, reach the left hand either to the seat of your chair or to your block or the floor, whatever works for you. Right hand or right arm comes into cactus. Squeeze the right shoulder blade towards the midline, opening up the right side of your chest. And either leave the arm there, or if you'd like, you can extend the arm overhead. Push down through the heels, reach up through the top of your head. Feel this shape, keep breathing. And then to come out of the shape, reach the right arm into the space next to you and let that wrist pull you up and out of the pose, and then lower the arm. Turn towards the seat of your chair and step the feet underneath your hips, knees slightly bent. Now, I'm going to give you some options here. You're welcome to go back to the cat and cow pose flow that we did before. Or if you'd like, you can move into the spinal wave. We're only going to go down halfway. So it's an inhale up, exhale, fold in half. And then inhale, bend the knees, roll the spine, and lean back at the end. Exhale, the hips go back, fold, inhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tail, and roll up and back. Okay, now if you're doing this spinal wave, I invite you to let the arms flow. They go to the sides and forward as you fold forward, and then they come in towards the body, kind of circling around. It's a bit like you're rowing a boat in really slow motion and in very calm water. So this is the inhale, rolling up. Exhale, folding forward. And if you're sticking with cat and cow, inhale and exhale can be done in either direction. Really, it's what feels most natural and comfortable for you. So let's take about 2 or 3 more breaths, depending on how quickly you're breathing. And then the next time you complete your exhale, place your hands on your thighs and inhale, push yourself up to standing and pause, noticing how that feels. Now, can you find the weight back in your heels, top of the head floating up, shoulders depressing down, and really connect to that central axis of the spine? Extend your fingers out like straws, like capillary action. Start to pull in the good stuff from your environment. So whatever it is you consider the good stuff, whatever it is you need right now, maybe it's cool air because you're feeling hot, or maybe it is, plant life, animal life, community life. Just go ahead and draw that in through your fingers. As you inhale, the arms float up, and then exhale, let that good stuff shower down the front of your body. And then do that again, inhaling, the arms collect, and on the exhale, shower down the back of your body with that good stuff, that nourishing, sweet, life is sweet stuff. And then one more time, inhaling, gather it up, exhaling, let it pour down that central axis. Just rinsing away anything that's not needed. Okay. Now step the feet just slightly closer than your hips, slightly closer together than your hips. We're going to come into our third and final twist. And because it is a standing one, I'm again encouraging you to not do any sort of pivoting around with your hips and your knees. Otherwise, your knees are just going to be unhappy with this whole business, okay? So hopefully we've done enough with the upper body so that you can raise your arms overhead comfortably. If that's not the case, then you're always welcome to do this next twisting movement with your hands crossed over your chest, or even with the arms down, more like in a cactus position. If you are able to raise the arms overhead, form a triangle by connecting your 2 thumbs and your index fingers, and look up through that triangle like it's a tiny window. Inhale here. As you exhale, twist to one side. Inhale, twist back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. And inhale, center. Try not to lean back or forth or left or right, but really find that central axis of your spine and extend it up through the center of that triangle that you're looking at. And feel how this rotation is related to gravity's pull. So related to your connection to the earth, your relationship to the earth. And when we are talking about processing worry and transforming it into trust, we're applying the earth energy. The earth energy of the spleen organ system. So we're storing trust. Trust that gravity will always be there and the planet will always be there for you. And whatever else you trust in. Just go around one more time to each side. And then once you inhale back to center, on your next exhale, like you did with that shower before, go ahead and let your hands float down. And just pause for a moment to feel. Okay. So now we are shifting into our final relaxation position. So that means if you need some blankets, pillows, warm socks, go ahead and grab those. I'm going to shift my mat over here to my resting chair. That's my working chair. This is my resting chair. And I'm going to angle this a little bit. Now, before you go to the floor, just take a look here. Kind of a key little tip when we're talking about trust. We want to find a relaxation position that really generates a lot of ease. So if you're someone like me who deals with a lot of low back pain, this next little tip is going to be useful for you. So first, let me grab my socks. Typically, what our bodies do when we relax the legs is they flop out, okay? But if we can keep the legs from flopping out, we can create a bit more space through the low back. And that's where your spare blanket or your beach towel comes in. We're going to use it to wrap up the shins. So have it handy, have it within reach, and then bring your legs up on your chair. Place the blanket under your calves and then set your calves on top of the blanket so that the weight of your legs holds the blanket in place. And doesn't, you're not trying to create a mummified position there, but you do want it to be firm enough so that your legs can relax into the holding that the blanket or the beach towel provides. Okay. So once you have that all figured out, go ahead and rest the arms, your head. You can close your eyes. Let your breath just flow in and out without any special agenda. I think we have a pretty clear idea of where we store worry in our bodies, right? We feel that tension pretty acutely. But there's an interesting question to ponder is, where do you store trust in your body? When you feel at your most trusting, where does that emotion live in your body? Is it in the exhale? Is it in the tiny muscles that we unconsciously clench? Maybe the tiny muscles along the inner thighs, inner groins. Or around the sacrum, your low back, back of your waistband. Are you able to relax anything there? Letting the body get heavier and more supported. From an animal perspective, this position that we're in is a symbol of trust. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable is a sign of trust. Where does trust live in your body? Now shifting our practice into the realm of visualization. Make sure that you are absolutely comfortable. There's no movement required for the next few minutes. And then in this state of deep relaxation, begin to picture a blue mist forming at the back of your waistband near your kidneys. Watch as it condenses into a small ball and then splits into two, and then expands into a bright, saturated light, filling up the area around your kidneys. Breathe in and draw this blue light into your kidneys. Breathe out and watch this blue light glow and grow brighter. This blue light expands so much that it spills out. It expands to the right side of your waist and becomes misty again. Here at the right side of the waist, picture a green mist forming near your liver. Watch as the mist condenses into a small ball and then expands into a bright, saturated light, filling up the area around your liver. Breathe in and draw this green light into your liver. Breathe out and watch this green light glow and grow brighter. And this light expands so much that again it spills out, this time up to your chest, becoming misty again. See a red mist forming near your heart. Watch as the mist condenses into a small ball, then expands into a bright, saturated light, filling up the area around your heart. Breathe in and draw this red light into your heart. Breathe out and watch this red light glow and grow brighter. And again, this light expands so much that it spills out, this time to the left side of your waist, becoming misty again. Now picture a gold mist forming near your spleen. And watch as the mist condenses into a small ball and then expands into a bright, saturated light, filling up the area around your spleen. Breathe in And draw this gold light into your spleen. Breathe out and watch this gold light glow and grow brighter. Once more, this light expands so much that it spills up to the top of your chest, becoming misty again. This time, picture a white mist forming in your chest near your lungs. Watch as it condenses into a small ball, then splits into two, and then expands into a bright, saturated white light, filling up the area around your lungs. Breathe in, draw this white light into your lungs. Breathe out and watch this white light glow and grow brighter. Now, once again, notice, where does trust live in your body? You are welcome to remain in this comfortable position for as long as you like. And when you're ready to get up, do so gently. Start by wiggling your fingers and toes, maybe turning your head a little. Only then to bring in larger movements like knees to chest, eyelids opening. Eventually come to your side and help yourself up to seated. Any comfortable seat that works for you. Feel your connection to the earth. Feel the shoulders drop. Feel that white light, the integrity of all your systems working together. And those places where you cultivate trust in your body. Thank you.